the Philadelphia Eagles do not control their own destiny. They're going to need help from others. But they've got a shot at this thing. All they need to do is get in, and anything can happen. So let's get into the scenarios. You guys might know them already, but I'm going to get into them here in this video. So it's really not that complicated. There's really not that many teams in the mix. The NFC has been down, not as good as it was supposed to be. So the Eagles can get into the playoffs two ways. They can either win the NFC East or get the 6th seed in the NFC. Here's how that can happen. Dallas has to pull an all-time choke job and lose its final 2 games. It plays Tampa Bay at home on Sunday and closes the year against the Giants in the Meadowlands. So, who knows? Anything can happen. Doubtful that Dallas loses to Tampa Bay this Sunday. But if they lose their last 2, Eagles win their last 2, Eagles win the NFC East. That scenario, not really taking that seriously. I don't think that's how the Eagles are going to get in. How they might get in is in the 6th slot. And this is where they actually have a chance. So, the Vikings at the moment occupy the 6th seed. They beat Miami yesterday pretty convincingly, 41-17. Got Dalvin Cook involved, ran him the football. He got 20 carries, I believe. They finally ran the ball, and it paid dividends for Minnesota. They got the win. So maybe this is something that propels the Vikings. We'll see. So Minnesota has Detroit on the road and Chicago at home to close the year. Detroit on the road. Now, remember, this is a NFC North game. It's a divisional game on the road. Whenever you have to travel in your division on the road, that's difficult. Just ask the Seahawks yesterday having to go to San Francisco. Now, I don't see Minnesota going to Detroit and losing this game. Detroit kind of looks like a little bit of a dumpster fire at the moment. If you can't even go and beat Buffalo at this point in your season when the Bills are basically out all of the running backs, well, that's not good. So Detroit looking like one of the worst teams in the league, really limping to the finish line. I expect Minnesota to take care of business Sunday. It'd be nice if Detroit could pull off, a bit of a minor miracle. Eagles all of a sudden beat Houston, and then you're feeling a lot more confident because all you have to do is just win in Week 17, you're in. Week 17 game against Chicago is going to be interesting because the Bears, they've clinched the NFC North, but they're still gunning for a 2 seed. Here's the thing, though. The Rams, they don't really play anybody to close the year. So if you look at the Rams' schedule here, they've got Arizona coming up in Arizona on Sunday. Arizona, one of the probably top 3 worst team in the NFL. And then the 49ers at home to close the year. 49ers are playing better football with Nick Mullins. They did get the win yesterday against Seattle. But I don't expect the Rams to lose either of those games, even as bad as they look right now. That's the thing about this late in the season. Teams like this, these offensive juggernauts that we see kind of get going earlier in the year, sometimes they get figured out here late in the season. The Rams, the blueprint might have been laid out by Chicago. 15-6 win last week. I believe Jared Goff has 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions in his last 3 games. So you pressure Jared Goff, you're able to get him to make some mistakes. And then on the other side of the ball, you got to double team Aaron Donald and let another pass rusher beat you. That secondary has not been as good as advertised this year. You got Marcus Peters, you got Aqib Talib, but they've been getting lit up all year. And Eagles lit them up again last night. So, that defense, starting to get figured out. Offense starting to get figured out. Even you look at New Orleans, that Dallas game, and the Saints kind of haven't been the same since. So if the Eagles can get in here, who knows? Anything can happen. Anything. And that's what made the run last year, so impressive by the Eagles, because not only was Doug's offense, never figured out, he was also able to adjust it heading into the postseason. And, that's one of the main reasons why I thought Doug's offense was so successful in the postseason, because there was nothing on tape about it. He changed a lot, implementing the RPOs for Nick Foles, making it more comfortable for him. And look what happened. So there you go. Minnesota has to lose one of the last two, and then the other scenario is Carolina as well. Carolina plays New Orleans twice, so as long as they lose one, they're out. That they're not going to beat New Orleans. Well, they're going to lose at least one of those. So Carolina is done, and then the other one here is Seattle. Seattle plays Kansas City on Sunday, which very well could be a loss. That puts them at 8-7. But I don't see how Seattle is going to lose in Week 17 to Arizona. So Seattle's probably going to get in. Seattle does have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Birds because of conference record. The Eagles, the best they can do in conference is 6-6. And the Rams, I believe, they only have 5 losses. If I'm correct, hold on, let me see the standings here. Seahawks. Seahawks 7-4 in the conference. So already more conference wins. The Eagles can only get one more conference win against the Redskins in Week 17. The Eagles are 5-6 in the conference right now. Can be 6-6 if they beat Washington. So there you go, Seattle. That playoff spot is not going to happen. You're going to have to hope for Minnesota to lose one of the last two. That's the most likely scenario here, obviously, for the Birds. And, who knows? I think the Vikings take care of Detroit. We'll see about Chicago in Week 17 and how much they really care about that game. That's what it might come down to. Chicago and a tough defense, against Kirk Cousins. And, even for Chicago's purposes, would you rather play Minnesota in the playoffs, or would you rather play a reinvigorated Eagles squad in the wild card? I'd probably rather play Minnesota, huh? So we'll see. The Vikings made some changes, obviously, last week by firing John DeFilippo. They recommitted to the running game last week. They ran the ball a ton last year, one of the main reasons why they were successful and got to the NFC Championship game. So we'll see if that change is going to help them out. But, who knows? Anything can happen. Eagles don't control their own destiny, but still very much in the thick of the playoff race here. So those are my thoughts here on this playoff scenario. If I had to guess right now, I think Minnesota is going to lose to Chicago. And I think the Eagles can get this done. So I'm out. See you.